Okay, so I recently realized that after doing my couple of installations with NixOS, I've probably edited my configuration file a few times more than I should have, done a few things more, and I thought, well, now that I have an opportunity, let me reinstall NixOS from scratch and do not only an installation, but a configuration, and I'm going to set it up to how I like my desktop environment to work and how I try to operate. So what I'm going to be doing today is a bit of a different video. I'm recording this on my actual hardware, not a virtual machine. And I'm going to go step by step and show you how I set up my machine. How am I going to enable Flatpaks? How am I going to install DistroBox? And how am I going to use DistroBox? How am I going to install KBN? And all these things instead of only showing you editing and configuration manager. So I'm going to get started here. So basically here I have a fresh install of NixOS, latest version. I just got the GNOME ISO to get started with. I just chose that one randomly. Could have chosen KDE as well. And as you can see here, still pretty vanilla. So going to get started. The only application I have already installed is OBS Studio for obvious reasons, so I can actually record this clip. But yeah, let me get started. So the first thing I'm going to do here is actually install GNOME Tweaks, which is not installed anyway. So yeah, and let us start with that. And I'm going to actually open up Firefox, go to the top and just type in GNOME Tweaks, and it's going to be this one. GNOME -tweaks. So open up our terminal and literally go sudo nano etc NixOS configuration.nix, authenticate, and of course gonna scroll down here and you can see it's already got, by default, vanilla file, has X11, of course, has GNOME enabled, sound, printing, networking, or for users, applications. As you know, in my case, I allow unfree software, and here, of course, the environment system packages. So GNOME tweaks and do a rebuild. If I now go here and I go to tweaks, here we go. Tweaks is non-stored, so I'm gonna myself change my appearance, my legacy applications. I want to say dark, my top bar. I'm like having my title bar buttons on the left side. Okay, general, that's fine. Keyboard and mouse, great. Top bar. Okay, that's perfect. Cool. So a couple of things I like to do as well is I like to install some GNOME extensions as well. And with NixOS, usually if you want to install GNOME extensions, you can go to GNOME extensions, GNOME shell extensions. You'll go to this website and install the GNOME shell integration, and you would install that, and then you click next, and then load the menu items. However, what I found out with this OS, with Nix, is they seem to recommend that what you do is you also install it via the config file as well. So, for example, I like to use -panel, open weather, sound inputs on chooser, notification, a section at alt menu, clipboard indicator, sync desktop icons, weather. If I'm using that, I just like these extensions just so I can get a bit of sanity when it comes to using Node. Okay, so here's the trick. What do I do? Well, first dash to panel, so I'm going to go back here and search dash to panel, and no, I hadn't looked for it. Love extensions, dash to panel. Right, so you're going to find it over here, and I'm going to go back to my config file. And just enter for a couple of spaces here. I have my known extensions dash to panel, alright. So I shouldn't need that anymore. Open weather. So it would be known extensions dot open weather. Just open weather. Okay, known extensions dot open weather. Right. So let's take this one. Again, I just space search lines up. You don't have to do that. Remember, whatever you do, please don't use the tab button. Sound input and device chooser. Okay. Add up, okay, that's this one. The app indicator as well, so that I can see what apps there are with notifications. So it'll be this one. Okay. Arc menu. So I'm just going to type in arc menu as well. And I'll press enter here, just that. Add the clipboard indicator as well. Which I think is most probably this one. So let's just copy this over here. Go copy. Paste that. The weather goes with open weather. And I'm just going into the desktop icons. If it's going to work, because I sometimes find desktop icons extension doesn't always seem to work on so we'll see if it works. Does not work with X11. That's good to know. I use Wayland most of the time now, so that should be alright. Okay, so I've got these here. And then do I have it? Yeah, I already have extensions installed there, so that's fine. So right now, shouldn't be any more spaces, so I'm gonna save the file, exit the file, and do rebuild switch. Downloading all the files, adding them. I have previously manually added GNOME extensions from the GNOME extensions website and had nothing but issues. So I really recommend just rather do it this way. Now we go to tweaks, which is GNOME. We go to extensions, which is installed, and I just want to see if it's actually added, and some of these are already pre-built in, and it hasn't. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to log out, and I'll log back in again for them to show up. Welcome back. I've just done a reboot, and I'm going to open up the extensions, and they should be installed, which it looks like they are. So I'm just going to make this bigger. So the first one I'm going to initiate here is dash to panel. Right. Then the desktop icons and spin. Okay. Open weather. Places, status indicator, removable drives, don't really need that. Okay, the sun and the sun put options, it doesn't work with dispersion. That's okay. Clipboard status. That should be. I also want to use the themes as well. Yeah, that should, I think, be pretty much everything that I want here. So now I have my GNOME and everything installed. I went ahead and installed Podman so that we can use DistroBox, and I see it didn't actually record that portion of the video properly. So essentially what I did was I opened up my configuration file and I added this line virtualization.podman.enable equal true at the bottom, and I then under packages added DistroBox, and I saved it and I did a rebuild, right? And after doing a rebuild, it installed DistroBox. So what I'm going to show you is how we would create a DistroBox. I've already created it earlier, which I didn't call, but I'm going to create another one. So I'm going to say DistroBox create, and I'm going to call this Ubuntu, right? Because what I'm going to do here is my virtual Linux environment is going to be in this, for this one example, will be Ubuntu based. I'm going to go -- image, and I'm going to go Ubuntu and latest. So I pulls down the latest image, and I'm going to hit enter. It's going to pull it down. I'm going to pull mine from Docker, and it should see if it can get it. Might have to give it a slightly different name. Sometimes you have to put the actual version number in front of it. Okay, it's pulling it down. Now we're going to transfer the DistroBox into Ubuntu. They're going to hit enter. Now it's going to start up the container. And of course, I'll show you a good example of what we can do here. Okay, so now we're going to do, now we are actually in Ubuntu. So if I do fetch, it's installed. So we'll just do sudo apt and then update quickly. And do sudo apt install neo fetch. Yes, it's really great. So now if I do neo fetch, we have Ubuntu installed, and now if I, where this is really nice is I can go sudo apt install let's do VLC. Okay, it's quite a lot of packages to get for VLC, but that's fine. This is just an example. I'm still in Ubuntu, my Ubuntu environment, so I can just type VLC, and you'll see VLC has loaded, and it's running in my Ubuntu session. And if I want to, I can just go DistroBox. I think it's what is it? --export at VLC, and if we go here and we do VLC, it should, then we go VLC, we deploy Ubuntu, hit enter, and there it is. As simple as that. So glad that is working. I'm just going to close that off, and I'll just save this example for later. I tend to forget that example. Alright, so what I did do previously was with my config file, I actually did do a bit of a backup of my previous one for my additional software that I want. So I can copy some of that over. We didn't have to struggle completely. So let's look at that. Okay, so this is my old file. So a couple of these additional apps and settings we're gonna load up now. So let me open up the terminal again, and then to sudo nano etc NixOS configuration. Okay, so what's one thing I'm happy with my system's hostname. I'm gonna change it to NixOS WS for NixOS workstation. Okay, and networking is fine. Config, so what did I do here? So below addresses, windowing system, I actually went and added a couple of these. So I'm just going to space these down here. And I'm going to copy all of my previous desktop, you could say, interfaces here. Just want to make sure, yeah, we have GNOME is enabled. Okay, this enable GNOME desktop environment is a duplicate, so we can actually just go here and just take this one out. And also this enable Windows services here. Right. And I can just go here. Well, tidy that up just now. I just need to add under cinnamon. Copy that in. Paste that. And I'm just gonna hash that out so it doesn't actually load it. Because that's the last thing we need. Okay, so what we'll do here is these codes we just whenever we need to change the desktop environment. I must just move the GNOME portion out. I'm going to save this. And I'm just going to do a quick rebuild in case I've made any mistakes or anything. I like to do a rebuild as I go through the file, just in case I've made any small mistakes or anything along the way. And you kind of know where to fix it as you've gone on. Okay, so later on, that's fine. I think, can we copy that and paste that here? Yes, we can. And I'm just going to put here enable GNOME desktop environment. And this is duplicates now, so we don't actually need these. So just tidying this up, writing it out, then quick rebuild. Okay, that should be fine. Sound and all of these are right here. Okay. So let's go back here. So later on, if we want to swap, it'll be pretty easy. I just want to check at the bottom of the file. I remember any of my additional settings. If I needed to have additional config to get these things to run. So I'm going to just copy these here. And I'm going to paste them here in the actual file. Further up here, because it makes sense rather to put this over here than where it was. So let's write it out, just save, should be right. It should work. Check. Now I'm gonna want to enable virtualization. So this, of course, was for Podman. Okay, so I still want to enable Macadian virtualization. So I'm going to copy this line from my previous config file in here, and I'm just going to paste it here. And of course, because it's unhashed, it will enable it. So I'm going to write the file and do reload. And let that thing start rebuilding itself up. So that's always a bonus. I'm really managing this virtual manager just now. The other thing I do, I have one custom DNS resolver at home, aka Pi hole. So I can just copy this portion here as well. And now is add the line about, so I'm going to add all of these apps. So I'm literally going to copy these apps, and I'm going to paste them under the application portion here. So I'm going to paste it here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add the line config allow and free, which we've already got, and I'm also going to add the line with regards to how we enable flatpaks. So under services, .flatpaks.enable, I'm going to add this, .true to the file, and services to open SSH. Okay, for now I'm not going to enable the firewall, so I'm just going to add this over. Now what I've done is save the file, exit, and I'm going to do a switch. And once this is done, it's going to reboot the system. I'll reboot and carry on once I'm live again. Okay, so it's rebooted, and you'll see all these applications and everything is now installed and operational, etc. So one of the things I'm going to want to do is install a couple of additional bits of software. So I've previously got a couple of config files of a few things I want to load. So first thing is my alias. So I've got a little script here called alias adapter. So I don't want to open, I just want to open that up with that's my preferred text editor. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to echo and add these to my configuration, to my bash config. So basically by adding this to my bash config, then it should look very similar to how it normally looks when you see me run it on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this console. I'm going to say chmod, not there, I'm going to go chmod plus X to make it executable alias updated. I'm going to go next, alias update.sh, and now if I open up a terminal, you'll now see that I've now got my settings back. You'll bash alias top not found, top not found. Let me just open up my nano.bashrc file. Okay. Top is equal to, okay, so this I just need to fix the space there. Close this out, write it. And then exit that, open up the terminal again. And yeah, all errors are gone. So now if I do top, I get htop. Cool, so this portion is done. I'm not, I obviously can't show you my rclone configuration. for obvious reasons. And so, yeah, clear that up. Okay, so there's a couple of additional files I want here. So a Flatpak install. So if I open this up here, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to remote add FlatHub. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it into the terminal. Authenticate. And it's added it automatically. Now with Flatpak, if you go into this site, you'd go a Flatpak to install one application. You go Flatpak install FlatHub, and then the name of the application. If you want to install multiple, you just go Flatpak install, and then FlatHub this over and over again. So you'll see the Flatpak install, flathub.com, valve.steam, FlatHub.net, Lutris, etc., etc. So, and just a -y to save it so that it will just download these without asking me too many questions. So this is a list of the apps I can't get and I don't want to run in DistroBox either, so I'm just going to hit enter, and now the system's automatically just going to download these files. You'll see there was an error or timeout reached. If that does happen for whatever reason, I just end up I'll rerun the command again, and it will only download the files it hasn't already downloaded, so you don't need to worry about that. This is stable. We're not going to run it, but essentially what this would do, it changes the whole system to the unstable channel, or to the more, we make it more rolling release as more stuff comes through. My app images that I want to choose is my GitHub desktop image, expand drive, and app launcher. But what we're going to do now, instead of using these as app images, because I generally don't like using app images, we're going to get these running in DistroBox. So in the meantime, can at least just go to this website, my Fedora install in DistroBox. So let's take that, Linux of RPM. Does this stop correct? Yeah, this should be fine. Ah, sorry. Which one did we do here? Yeah, that is the 64-bit version. So Linux.rpm. Yeah, that should be the correct version of the file. So that will also be in downloads. Okay, while that's running over there, we can go distro box, enter Fedora, and just change to home, and change back to downloads, and that's the file we're going to run. Okay, this here timed out, so I'm just going to run the command again, and let it find the files. It didn't complete the first time. I sometimes have this issue with it's just time out. Okay, so here I'm just going to copy this name, and I'm going to go sudo dnf install GitHub RPM. We'll get its dependencies. Let it install. And if I go GitHub-desktop, it loads. So what I'm going to do is a distro box export --app space GitHub desktop. And if we wait a few seconds here, GitHub desktop in Fedora, and we click it, it's over here. So this is, I can't seem to get this anywhere in NixOS, so I can just use it from my virtual Fedora instance, which is perfect. Another application I use is expand drive. So let's just go there and just try get the RPM image. Okay, don't need that launch, just I can close that. And wait for it to finish downloading. Alright. And let's just list it. We're basically running the same command again. So we're going to go sudo dnf install command drive. Yes. Close that. Okay, it seems like there's still one that keeps failing. But not two in the background, so in this case you'll see I've run it quite 2-3 times. And then if there's at least all the apps should be there. Let's go expand drive. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to cease that. So I'm just going to do an export of expand drive. Hit enter. Wait a few seconds. And expand drive is over there. Pretty cool. So let's just quit that. Okay, so we've got DistroBox installed. We've got a couple of apps here now installed. And we're still busy installing some of our flat packs, which some of them keep timing out. Not too sure why. It could be point of flat packs installed, our apps are installed. One thing I'm going to do here is, even though we've just configured GNOME, I'm not in the mood for GNOME. So I'm just going to open up a somewhat cool retro terminal, and I'm going to do sudo nano etc NixOS configuration. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to disable GNOME, and I'm actually feel like using KDE for a bit. So you can imagine what we're going to do. We'll just do a normal rebuild, and once we've rebuilt and back up live in KDE, we'll go through 1 or 2 games just to make sure those are still working, etc. Probably here will probably have been quicker if I just typed in my rebuild switch. We started and we're in, as you can see, KDE. So I'm just going to make a couple of, I'm going to change to KDE over here. Just going to make it the dark theme. It's a layout. Cool. And in my case, I put devices on my mouse. I just do natural scrolling. Okay, so I've got this running. Yeah, I just take my runner here. I just pop it in the center. And just go to a terminal. Console. And then in habits. So usually here, I'll just configure profile. So I'll do a new profile. Just call it matrix. Make it default. Close it. Then you have to reopen again. It's just how I found using this, unfortunately. So it is not a default. My appearance is green and black. No heck font. Try make it bigger. and back we close that terminal and you open it up. And here is my terminal. Okay, that is now sorted. Okay, folks, well, that's it. Basic install from start to finish. I have my browser installed, my other stuff installed. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching.